I'm very, very excited about this particular conversation. I have conversations with people every single day. I get paid to talk to people. Isn't that fun? Incredibly privileged and honored, all of us here, to have with us today Google's Chief Internet Evangelist, Vint Cerf, on his first visit to Africa in his Google capacity. He's served as Vice President and Chief Internet Evangelist for Google since October 2005, and he's really responsible for identifying new enabling technologies to support the development of advanced internet-based products and services from Google. Even I, who's a complete technophobe, know that he is one of the world's fathers of the internet. Please welcome to the stage, Vint Cerf. Nice to meet you.
Small and medium-sized enterprises are the backbone of wealth and growth. But what's critical is that they are owned by the people in the country. So it's wonderful for countries to have arrangements to invite other companies to come in and set up businesses and operations, but real wealth comes from ownership, and ownership comes from the people who are running small and medium-sized enterprises. Second, I want to point out that in addition to the venture capital contribution to GDP, that government research is also a very important element. At least in the United States, I can tell you that the funding for the ARPANET and the Internet came from the American Defense Department. It was augmented by the National Science Foundation. They funded the operation and development and evolution of that system from 1969 until 1995. And so it's a very, very long period of funding. Not huge amounts of money, although at some points, tens to 20s to $30 million. But the idea here is it was long-term, high-risk funding. It was okay to have failures. Having infrastructure in place has a dramatic enabling effect. Not only does it create platforms for people to develop new products and applications, but it may also be essential for education. And in the US, we've experienced something called MOOC, which stands for Massive Open Online Classes. My two colleagues at Google decided to teach a class in artificial intelligence at Stanford last year, and they thought maybe 500 people would sign up. Some of you have heard this story. 160,000 people signed up for the class because it was offered through the internet. And of course, there was a mad scramble to redo the software. Since that time, some classes have got to the size of 350,000 people. Now, who do you think is excited about that? You imagine the universities would run away, right? And think, well, this is a competition. The strongest proponent for MOOCs that I know is John Hennessy, the president of Stanford University. And I asked him, why do you like this? I mean, you have these $50,000 a year tuition and everything else. And he says, let me explain the economics. Let's do the math. Suppose that you have 100,000 people in the class, not an unusual potential. Suppose they each paid 10 pounds or 10 euros or 10 rands or something. That's a million rand class. How many professors do you know have taught million rand classes? So you can do a lot with that amount of money. You can pay teaching assistants. You can have people who are online assisting the students. What you do is you do videos and you put them up, and the students can see them as many times as they want, whereas your lecture they only hear once. Then when they get into the class, they solve problems. They just discovered why they were learning that stuff. So MOOCs, very important notion, great economics.
You heard from the innovators in the room, the things that they're doing. You've heard also what the challenges are on the continent in South Africa. What advice would you give the innovators, the funders, and the regulators that are in the room?
All right. So on the regulatory side, we clearly need to open things up and make it easier for businesses to form. We have to accept the possibility that some businesses will fail, and that's okay. That's the normal course of events in the marketplace. It's not a mark that says that you should never get any money anymore. We have to make sure that there is a source of venture capital. There have to be a vibrant stock market to allow for IPOs, because when you need a lot of money, you need public support for that. I think that with regard to the regulatory situation for communications, radio spectrum and the like, I would like to see a lot more tolerance of and even invitation to experiment, to explore new ways of using the spectrum than we have today. On the entrepreneurial side, I love what I saw today. I mean, this is really good stuff. These are people with clever ideas who could pursue them because there is an ecosystem that will support them. And in South Africa, it's clear we need to do some things to make that ecosystem better. I think that on the educational side, we also have to do more than teach people how to use applications. This is a problem in the U.S. too. It's not unique to South Africa. I want every kid to have the experience of writing a piece of software and discovering what a bug is and how hard it is to find and fix before they graduate from high school. It's not that I want them all to be programmers, but they're going to be surrounded by software in the rest of their lives, and I want them to understand its frailties as well as its power. And that you only get from trying things out.